I'm standing on the edge of the world. When screams pass me so laden with ice, it cuts my face and tears the air from my lungs. I glance down the crevasse before me and see nothing but inky blackness creeping upward with a deafening silence that almost rivals the howling of the wind. I'm climbing at 23,000 feet, and it is brutally cold. The oxygen level at this elevation is 30% that of sea level. I feel sick. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I have no energy to keep my own body warm. This is how it is like to climb a high altitude mountain. This is why when I summit Mount Everest, there were so many times along the way when I wanted to give up. Climbers can take 10 years to prepare for Mount Everest, but I only had 2 years to train for the expedition. In truth, if you had seen me before, I certainly didn't look like someone who could ever climb mountains. I had to work incredibly hard to train myself. The me from back then would never have imagined being on the stage of TEDx, much less climbing Mount Everest. But even through the hardship and self-doubt, I was able to eventually find the inspiration and passion I needed to climb the tallest mountain in the world. So I'm here today to tell you how you too can find your inner passion and climb your own Mount Everest. I started mountain climbing only 3 years ago by accident. In the summer of 2018, I traveled with my family to Tanzania. One of the events we could choose was to experience the highest peak in Africa. During that time, I had no idea how tall Mount Kilimanjaro was. We hiked for a week. Surprisingly, I made it to the top without knowing much about climbing. I was shocked. I never thought that I could just climb a mountain. Mount Kilimanjaro was a living symbol of the power of nature. Its amazing view interests me, but also inspired me to challenge myself further. A fire awakened inside me. How much more could I do? And the answer was obvious. I wanted to see if I could climb the biggest mountain in the world. However, after summiting Mount Kilimanjaro, I realized I still have a long way and many hurdles to overcome. So I decided to climb other mountains in preparation for the big one. I began training on Labari at 23,000 feet, just to learn the required climbing techniques. Let me give you a little glimpse of how to prepare for high altitude mountains. You need to climb lower, smaller mountains and acclimate to the higher elevation. Acclimatization is critical, or your body won't be able to breathe or eat as you move up. I started my more serious training by climbing all the way to Camp 1 of Mount Everest, which is famously called North Col, and Troayu, the 6th highest mountain in the world, for preparation. I started by hiking every weekend for 4 months prior to my climb, and carrying a heavy backpack where I increased the weight gradually every week. I also did cardio 3 times a week and started weightlifting to gain more muscle. Climbers have to have a lot of motivation and passion because it takes a lot of work. Climbers gradually work their way up to the mountain to the higher and higher altitude. For example, when I climb a 23,000 feet mountain, I spend days at different elevations. This helps us acclimate much faster than just staying in one spot for several days. Every day, I was doing day hikes to a higher elevation and returning to sleep at lower elevations. We don't climb mountain once, but maybe 3 to 4 times to get fully ready for the summit day. That is why climbing Everest takes at least 60 days. During those 60 days of living on the mountain, there were many challenges people don't know about. For example, some nights were so cold that I skipped brushing my teeth. Sometimes for 5 nights in a row, you might not get a shower for 30 consecutive days. And above all, Using the bathroom was a punishment every single time. I came to appreciate what a privilege something as fundamental as a toilet was, and to not take a simple luxury for granted anymore. After 7 months of training, I finally felt ready. That fire started within me at Kilimanjaro was a full body wildfire at this point. However, while climbing, there were times that I was extremely tired and ready to quit. Due to the extremely high altitude, I had a headache. I was gasping for air and have felt constantly thirsty. The cold wind on my face was scratching my skin, and I couldn't feel my fingers and toes. My legs were shaking, and I keep thinking that I didn't have any more energy to continue on, and I just wanted to quit and go back down. I keep telling myself, I'm not strong enough. Something wrong is with my body. Maybe mountain climbing is not for me. I have to go back home, train more, and maybe come back later. We all doubt ourselves in times of struggle. We all tell ourselves that we can't do it and we're not enough. It feels so easy to give up when life is an uphill climb. We're all climbing mountains of various altitude in life. And it can be challenging to remember why we started the climb in the first place. If I have learned anything from my years of climbing, it's to stay positive, no matter how impossible the situation seems. I don't tell myself that I can't do it anymore. I have worked too hard and too long to not believe in my own abilities. I now know that I can overcome any challenge with the right mindset. And so can every single one of you, as long as you follow my 3 steps for an uphill climb. E, P, B. First, E, embrace the impossible. Try not to reject trying new things just because they seem impossible. A 15-year-old climbing Mount Everest from the north side. Unlikely? Sure. Impossible? No. It just hadn't been done before. Everything is impossible until you try it. It will probably be hard, but you will also find something new to love and explore. Second, P, prepare. Getting fully prepared for a challenge ahead will only help you. You need all your gear and training so that you feel like you can conquer it when times get tough. Lastly, B, believe. You have to believe in yourself and stay positive. Tell yourself that you can do it. That's probably the toughest for most of us. We all have those voices in our heads telling us to give up and walk back down that mountain. But it is truly the one thing that can get you through any challenge. E, P, B. Embrace, prepare, believe. Back on Mount Everest, I felt so lonely and tired as I was trying to find a way to tell the other climbers that I was quitting. One of my team members started walking back towards me. First, I thought he also wanted to quit, but when he got closer, I realized he had a cup of warm pear soup in his hand for me. That felt like a gift from heaven, a message saying that I shouldn't quit, I should continue on. After the first sip, it filled me up with hope and energy. It was a magical cup of soup that warmed my heart and gave me strength to continue on. Moments like that brings me back to a proverb from my childhood, 黎明前的黑暗. The English translation is, the darkest hour is just before the dawn. As the morning came and I finished off my pear soup at 24,500 feet, I watched the sun come up. The panoramic views of pink and orange colors danced across the mountain peaks like a great fire, adding its flames to now raging fire inside of me. I forgot all the pain in my muscle that morning. Mount Everest is the largest mountain on Earth, but Submitting it made me realize that it wouldn't be the biggest challenge I'd ever face. I want to preserve these mountains I'd fallen in love with for my children to one day see. The first woman who climbed Mount Everest was Junko Tabe, a Japanese mountain climber who studied environmental degradation of Everest caused by the waste left behind by climbing groups. We cannot continue enjoying nature if we aren't clean up after ourselves. Junko Tabe had a much passion for the mountain that she inspired me to read more about her work. I had a new mentor, and I had found my next mountain to climb, environmentalism. Upon returning home, I turned my attention to the local mountains I loved. Could I clean out the thousands of mountains and trails in California? Or is that an impossible task? Unlikely? Sure. Impossible? No. It just hasn't been done before. All I needed was to prepare the right gear and train enough to clean up the trash. So I decided to do volunteer work. I started from a local level, working as a volunteer in Orange County Public Library. Then I joined the community environmental group in China and dedicated myself to keeping a clean environment at the Everest Base Camp. Finally, I established an environmental explorers club in my high school to help clean the mountains in Southern California. After the club was set up, there were more and more people focused on cleaning the environment. It was a lot of hard work, but by believing in myself and stay positive, I was able to summit that mountain. At times, it can seem like one person can't do much to help the world stay clean. But I want to encourage you, and especially young people like me, that you can love the outdoors and takes care of the earth too. Mountains gave me a reason to live a better and more adventurous life. When I'm not climbing mountains, I miss them so much because I love how the mountains challenge me and cannot wait to go back. Mountains give me the opportunity to do something different from other teenagers and inspire others to pursue their own dreams. I have learned a lot from high altitude mountain climbing, like how to overcome my fears. I learned that I can do what others deem impossible. I learned that hard work takes time, but it always pays off. I learned to love the climb as much as the summit. But the most important thing I learned was how to respect the culture of the mountain climbing and keep nature clean and pristine for future adventurers. Sometimes we forget that the risks of leaving our comfort zone can give us even greater rewards. I'm here to invite all of you to be a little more daring. You can all go after your dreams as long as you remember to EPB. Embrace the impossible. Prepare with training and gears. And believe that you can do it. The world is filled with mountains to overcome. But you can climb any mountain you want with right altitude and a little bravery. Thank you.